Well, the UK government was so concerned about this escalation involving Iran that it convened its National Emergency Crisis Committee to discuss what it said would be a robust response to the seizure of this British oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran says the 23 crew on board were unharmed and accuses the United Kingdom of violating international maritime laws in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping lane for much of the world's crude oil and perhaps the most geopolitically sensitive area in the world right now, following a rapid escalation of tensions between the United States and Iran since the Trump administration abandoned a nuclear deal to restrain Iran from developing nuclear weapons. The US view is that Iran is responsible for undermining stability in the Middle East. If the US has been rattling sabres with Iran, well, the UK Foreign Secretary wants to pursue the diplomatic route for now. Here's Jeremy Hunt.
We're not looking at military options. We're looking at a diplomatic way to resolve the situation. But we are very clear that it must be resolved. Freedom of navigation in the Gulf is absolutely essential. If that freedom of navigation is restricted, Iran is the biggest loser.
Well, the UK's willingness to go down the diplomatic route is already at variance with the United States, and relations between these two countries, the UK and the US, have soured in recent weeks following critical comments made by the former British ambassador to the US about the Trump administration. Even so, US President Donald Trump wants to give the UK his backing.
They've been a very great ally of ours, so we heard about it. We heard it was one, we heard it was two. And we'll be working with the UK.
Well, adding to the UK's woes as well this Friday, another tanker at one point, another British oil tanker, had been reportedly seized by Iranian forces, although Iran says this vessel was released on its way following warnings about allegations that the vessel was breaching environmental regulations. And let's remember that tensions between the UK and Iran have flared up since UK forces seized an Iranian tanker off the coast of Gibraltar, but they're not quite as tense as those relations between the US and Iran, where confrontations of sorts have taken place. First, Iran shooting down a US drone, and then on Thursday, President Trump claiming that the US had downed an Iranian drone for flying too close to a US naval vessel. Well, Iran has countered this narrative by releasing this video purporting to show that Iranian drone leaving the area following surveillance of that US vessel. Whatever the truth here, it is a fast escalating situation. Now the United Kingdom has been drawn into this confrontation. That's driving fears of a full-blown military confrontation involving Western powers and Iran. The Trump administration has been squeezing Iran with new sanctions as Iran enriches uranium beyond agreed limits in that international agreement. And that leaves many international observers fearing that this international deal to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons is dead in the water.